Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon Meet the Atheists segment. Gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our friend from the UK, Khaled. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm very well, Dean. Thank you, and welcome to all the wonderful followers.
Yeah, we like to talk about religion on Sundays.
What a coincidence! Yeah, I didn't realize that. It's good that it's not Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say we must make it Friday for your case.
I probably would have rejected if it was Friday.
So, let's talk a little bit about your journey away from religion, Khaled. Tell us a little bit about, your background. When did you first start having doubts about your religion, and when did you start to question your faith?
It was 1991 or 1992. I was at university, and I'm interested in music. And one of my friends was an atheist, and I'd known him for probably 3, 4 years, but he didn't tell me. And there was a song that he was singing that was haram, contained some um, connotations of atheism, and I didn't like it. And I said to him, "That's why are you saying that?" And he said, "I'll talk to you later." And he came clean and told me, and I had the shock of, because it was then you could just maybe read about atheists, and it is still a horrible word in Arabic. So I had a shock, and I thought maybe this is the devil. Eh,
Shaitan.
Shaitan. Yeah, really confused me, and I thought, well, I I I don't want to know him anymore. 2 years down the line, we became again friends again, and he's got a really he's very intelligent, so he understood where I am, and because he's been there before himself. So so say maybe within those 2 years, I was reading. I was a confirmation biased. I was reading things to get me back into the religion, s-
Yeah,
reading books to reassure me that my religion is correct, because I was terrified.
yeah,
And I hated the whole art space. I thought they are all probably like the same, and I don't want to. They live the life that we can't live. They are rich, and they do whatever. They marry and divorce. So I thought, maybe that whole space is wrong. And then I started reading those books, and then there was a very famous Egyptian Coptic priest that has started to say things about Islam from the original texts, the big books that um, all the Arabic scholars, Islamic scholars wrote. Then I started to find out things that is hidden from us, the things that they learn in religious institutions, and hide. They filter, they cherry pick the information and tell us the good stuff that keep us moderate Muslims. They keep us in that moderate space. Then yeah, that was the beginning, and then I started to read a lot. 10 years of that, until I just decided, no, I'm not going to be a Muslim. And then I started to look for other religions, like your other Muslim
me
guest
too. I
wanted. Any
never.
other religion? I can't live without a religion. I met a lot of religious people here in the UK, because here there are lots of religions. I wanted to choose one, and I thought, no, maybe they're all the same. So I'd say probably 2000, by 2003, I was into Richard Dawkins and Lawrence Krauss and all that, and just, yeah,
You're out.
yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, the funny
Yeah.
thing is, same thing happened to me. With Christianity. I came to a point in my life where I said to myself, well, Christianity is definitely not true. So there has to be something else. And I started looking
I wish
around.
I met you. I wish I met you when I was looking at Christianity, because I wasted a long time as well trying to understand it, and the Trinity, the whole Trinity stuff. And took long time. Then I thought, no.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was the emotional journey like for you? What did you, what kind of emotions were going through your mind at the time? Were you fearful, or were you relieved? Some people describe that they felt like birds that were let out of cages. They just felt freedom. And what was that like for you?
I think for Muslims, it's a horrific journey. It was really horrific for me. I mean, what helped me was I was in the UK, and there isn't much um, deep thinking about religions in this country, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
But it was horrible. It was very lonely. Very there was no internet then.
yeah,
I was reading from books, and it was the more I read, the more I get terrified. And the idea of having no God is really horrible when you when you are when you have I was really very religious. I was
yeah,
very devout. Yeah, so fear, I would say, first, uncertainty, loneliness.
yeah,
um I did not get into the the feeling that you described until I got to f- find out about the big atheists in the world who live a good life, and they have a cause, and they're just normal. And when I completely got rid of the religion mindset, I felt, yeah, this is good. I want all people to be like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's so much guilt and shame that religion puts on you. You almost feel ashamed of being human at the end of the day.
Yeah, in that time, shame didn't come to it at all, because I never came out of the
Right.
closet. I
Yeah.
was Yeah, shame didn't come to it until now. I don't feel shame. Shame never came to it, actually. Um,
Yeah.
but it definitely fear and loneliness. Suddenly you don't have a God. This is a big thing, which is it's weird that, because when you talk to religious people who are in the mindset that you were before, you understand where they're coming from. You
Yeah.
understand that.
Mm. And there's also some people describe it. They describe it like going through grief. When somebody in your family dies, it's like you've lost. There's a part of you that's gone. And some people describe that process of leaving religion in a very similar way. They say, I felt so sad and so alone, and then later on it got better and better, and then I learned to live without it. So there's so many different experiences that people
Perhaps
have.
if it happens suddenly to someone, I mean, I'm engaging with the atheists in the Arabic community on Facebook, and if it happens suddenly, like by suddenly I mean like 2 3 years, that would put you in that kind of grief for somebody that has died.
Yeah,
But for me, it was over 10 years. There was no
yeah,
internet. My problem was there was no internet. I could not connect with anyone. I was alone,
yeah,
totally alone.
yeah. That's crazy. And when it comes to a support system, did you have anybody that you could turn to? You say you were completely cut off from any connection with other atheists. So where did you turn to for support? Was it completely an inside job?
Completely an inside job.
Yeah,
There was no support at all. It was the Arabic. I was living in London then, and
yeah,
there is a big Arabic community in London, and but it's all about religions. Even you can't even bring the subject up. Everyone is fasting and praying, and come, let's go and pray Friday prayers. There's a mosque here, and how do you tell them your doubts? You just go and pray with them. And until I just left London, I thought this is not for me. London is
Alhamdulillah, my brother. Come, let's go to mosque.
mashallah, mashallah. I'm very impressed with you.
Mashallah.
I think I will convert you by the end of this. I will convert you to an atheist, because I'm not comfortable with your expressions now.
So while you were going through this process, how did you cope with everything? What kind of coping mechanisms did you did you use to deal with it?
It was reading. This is the only thing that it was reading Arabic books. It
Yeah,
was the only thing that would make me comfortable. Um, reading more and more and more. When the Arabs came to Egypt 1400 years ago, there was
yeah,
a lot of problems, and the Egyptians then they were all Coptics. They really revolted, and we don't hear about that. All we hear is that they opened arms to the Muslims because they were suffering under the Roman Empire
yeah,
occupation, and then that's all wrong. When you read these stuff, you go, well, maybe history was fiddled with. It's not correct what they're saying, um, and you hear about big scholars in Egypt in the early 20th century that they discovered things like that, and then they went through trouble. These are all we're oblivious of all this, so you feel like you're not alone, but there was actually the support network was no. Now it's much better. There are
yeah,
lots of atheists groups that you can connect with in Arabic, and it's great.
yeah. Our friend Bolilang asks, he says, how many people are moving around pretending to believers but are not believers?
This is a big thing. Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of people that just like they don't care, they don't believe, but they don't care, and it just it
Mm,
it it
it's
really
more like a
confuses me.
cultural thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, for me, I, I, I'm not so much in the gray area. It's either black and white. And when I was a Muslim, I was just a Muslim,
yeah,
full on. I can't understand people who, with all respect, of course, who
yeah,
are Muslims, but they don't really care. They don't put all their
yeah,
hearts and souls into this.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
No,
lots. Like, it's a good question. Lots of them.
yeah, yeah. And so now that you're out of it, how have you changed as a person? Your sense of identity and how you see yourself. Did that change at all after
Oh,
your deconversion?
absolutely. So, yeah, a completely different person. And the thing is, I am developing every day. Every day, I'm
Yeah,
developing myself. When you are religious, you sort of like it's a dead road, dead end road because you have answers to everything, and whenever you're disappointed in life, you have something to turn to. Whenever you are unsuccessful, you have that thing as well. When you just go out of that frame of mind, you sort of like take responsibility of your life. So 180 degrees my life turned. So I got really interested in science, and I went to university, and I'm still studying, and it
are you still there?
if I was in the same frame of mind.
Yeah,
Absolutely different person, but open to learning, understanding. When you have a critical mind, because when you go through this journey, you develop a critical mind. You kind of have filters in your brains. Not everything that goes in can be believed, so you
yeah,
start thinking more scientifically, and that means you are constantly working on yourself, developing systems that you come across, not
yeah,
just you, not just this system, the systems that you come across, whether it's a human being or an animal, or at work, any system. So 180 degrees.
yeah, yeah. No, and me too. The thing is, the religion that I grew up in was, not the strictest form of religion, but still, you were taught what to think, you were taught how to behave, you were taught how to interact with people. And the second I let that grow, I felt so much growth. It's like I was experiencing everything authentically, for myself firsthand. It wasn't coming, like you said, through this filter of religion. So crazy. And it's I heard someone once say it was and I think it's Christopher Hitchens who called it mind forged manacles, which means it's like chains that the mind puts around you to keep you in custody. It's
100%.
very, very powerful stuff. So, what were some of the challenges that you faced during this deconversion process, and how did you manage with them? I can imagine Ramadan was quite difficult.
Well, up until the moment I was in Egypt, there weren't any challenges, as I was still searching, and I was in the confirmation biased kind of
Yeah,
mind frame. When I came here, there was no challenges in regards to Ramadan. Well, I was cheating when I was young anyway. I would go and pretend that I'm doing wudu for Salah, and while I'm putting water in my mouth, I would just have a couple of sips without anyone knowing. Uh, but it's very
I
hot in
would.
Egypt. For gosh, it's very hot. I think a lot of kids do that. I like
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to generalize. The most of the challenges when I was going through that journey were my feelings, the
yeah,
fear and loneliness. Those are the main challenges.
yeah,
But there was no the other challenge which which I faced was dealing with the family. Until this moment, they don't really know. Um, I don't want to upset my family. My mom's getting old, and she's
yeah,
very religious. She won't understand that. She would think that I probably became westernized, and that has like shameful connotations,
yeah,
because in the Western world everything is allowed. So if you go down that route, you'll be maybe accused of being a
yeah,
Mason, and maybe you agree with homosexuality and all these things that yeah, that is considered shameful
yeah,
in Egypt. They
yeah.
fighting.
I can already see your mother going there. Oh, Khaled went to the West, and now he's doing everything that's haram.
I lost it. Yeah, I got to a point with my mom where like that we shouldn't talk about me praying and me. This is like now. I'm glad I did that. So this is boxed away. We don't talk about why you're not praying and that, because the fact is that I was very religious. They know that I'm aware of these things. So uh, but I did, after this war I decided to come out, and I had um, a couple of interviews. No, this is the second one, so I decided to come out, but
Yeah,
whether in Arabic or not, I'm still it's taking it easy.
yeah, yeah. Look, for me as well, there's some of my family members. I consider it need to know. Do they need to know? And sometimes the relationship that you have with people is more important than the principles that you have to stand on. And it's a
100%.
choice. It's a choice that you make. And you know, my my grandmother and my aunt, they're so old now. If I had to go, if they asked me to go to church, I'd tell them no, sorry, I don't go to church anymore. And
Same.
but they still think at the back of deep at the back of their minds, oh, he's, my good Christian grandson.
It's very hard to grasp
Yeah,
that the idea of someone became, it's really hard.
yeah,
I understand. The
especially
thing
with
is, I
older
don't.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I cut you. What did you say?
No, I'm saying, like, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I was gonna
That's all right.
say, especially with older people, the
Exactly.
older people, you have so much respect for them, and that my culture,
Exactly.
we really respect the old people,
Exactly.
and
And
we'll,
love. And love.
yeah, exactly,
Atheism teachings all about love, isn't it?
yeah,
Atheism teachings. The thing is, I'm not interested in removing the religion. I don't want to convert anyone. I wish I can, but religions are good for some people. And imagine your auntie, my mom, these people, if you remove that big pillar from their life,
yeah,
it's what are they going to live for,
yeah. Especially at that advanced age,
Yeah,
it gives meaning and hope to them.
yeah, yeah,
That's fine, like,
yeah.
and I have also have no desire to go to
Yeah,
my aunt and say to her, "Hey, well,
what are you worshiping?
guess
Yeah.
what? Guess what? You're wasting your time."
Exactly same. Even for young people as well, I respect people's religions. There is no way I want someone to suffer
Yeah,
like I did, unless they
yeah,
are ready. So a lot of people are in the atheism Facebook groups I engage with, and these people are somehow they're very vicious towards us. They swear and everything, but
yeah,
somehow they are looking for the truth. These people I'm prepared to help, and I take it, and I don't swear back, and I don't talk to them above my horse, kind of thing. I go down to the level, and I say, I understand where you come. I was there. Don't worry. Um,
yeah, yeah,
you can swear at me. It doesn't matter. I left my ego by the door when I came here. Let's talk about, yeah.
yeah. That's crazy. So, when you reflect back on this process, were there any moments that were very enlightening or transformative in your experience?
Of course, that friend of mine, which I'm gonna meet him today online as well. He's still in Egypt. That was a big transferring moment for me. Then everything I read about, I read and I heard from people like Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, Lawrence Krauss, everything like that. Every single letter was a transferring moment for me, because
Yeah,
I was ready then. I was then ready, and the things that they they write really resonate with me, and
yeah,
th- enlightens me.
yeah. Exactly. It's weird. This is why I am so passionate about building atheist communities, is for that very reason that you said now. Because when you leave religion, you feel lonely, and religion forms a community around people. People are together because they Muslim, or they Christian, or they Jews, or they Hindus, and it becomes a community thing. So when you leave, there is it's almost like something is being taken away from you. So building communities where atheists can, if it's online or if we go for a coffee or something, it's very important, because we're social creatures, so we need that social connection. um,
100%.
and when you find your community of people, like you say, it resonates within you. You feel like you belong. It's a very important aspect. um,
Absolutely. I've just started to be in line with my inner self when I started to come out and join atheists groups. Now I share, especially ex-Muslims. They know exactly where I'm coming from, and we share a lot. So this is what one of the advices maybe I can give to people who are going through this journey, and they are already, there is no way that you will align with your inner self unless you connect with other atheists. If you keep alone and not tell anyone, unfortunately you will have to suffer. I'm privileged that I'm in England, because if I was in Egypt it would have been a bit hard.
yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a big um, advantage of the support network.
And apparently, Islam is not very friendly with apostates.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I, the thing is, I think this is coming from the first Muslim king after Prophet Muhammad, who was
Yeah,
called Khalifa Abu Bakr, who wanted to fight all the apostates when they stopped paying zakah, which is like the
tax. Yeah,
tax. So I think they came up with that hadith, which means a holy speech for Prophet Muhammad. They came that with that, and but I don't think there are lots of doubts about the texts that we got, but it's that I think that's the main reason. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is. That's punishment. I should be killed. Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And yeah, so I mean, you covered the the advice. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's questioning, who's in the process of questioning? Should they just carry on questioning, or should they go ask an imam, or what?
Just go to the mosque. Just go to the mosque. I think I I think if you really true to yourself,
Mm,
you will find all your answers in the religious books and in the mosques. If you just ask these people about any question you have, because I did that. I asked the big Egyptian scholar, maybe the biggest, when I was about 16 years old, questions like, do we have free will, how, all these
yeah,
hard
yeah,
stuff, and the answers you get are not really logic. And they put more doubt in yourself. If you are true to yourself and have a critical mind, you will pick up those flaws in the religions.
yeah,
The other advice, so number one advice is have that critical mind and don't be
yeah,
scared of questioning. Read a lot. Read the other side. Don't just read, because the thing is, if you read the books that are written by um, contemporary scholars, they cherry pick to make the religion look good. But if you get the books that they cherry pick from, these are big massive books in Arabic and not everyone can understand.
mhm,
um, if you read these books, you will see horrible things. So read the other side. And uh, for non-Arabic speakers, um, you've got to read. You can't read these books at all. These big old scholars' books. So read a lot and talk a lot. Have an open mind. Open mind is very very important. This is so hard, because when you have a preconceived idea, especially if you were indoctrinated to it when you are a child, it's embedded in your character. It's really hard to have an open mind when it comes to religions. But
yeah,
if you have that, you will have an open mind to everything in your life, because that's the big thing that's gone. So if that big thing gone, then you will have an open mind to every other idea. You give
yeah,
a chance to people to talk and to convince you, and you'll have no problem of changing your mind, which is a beautiful thing about being an atheist, is that you are open. If tomorrow, it's like an Egyptian writer said. He said God is powerful. If he just wrote by these stars that in the sky, if he just wrote, I am your God, and he actually used a swearing word, I am your God, blah blah blah, I will believe in God. I don't have a problem believing in God. I don't have a deep desire to go to hell for eternity. I'd love to have a God and believe in, but the thing is, there is no evidence.
yeah.
So we are open-minded, and I'm sure you are the same. I'm sure all atheists are the same. We don't mind having a God if there is one.
Exactly. It's the waste of time. That's the thing. I look back on my life and I say, if I can add up, 2 hours on a Sunday, and I add that up, I don't know how many months and years of my life that I waste on this nonsense. I
And
could
you
be doing
waste your
other things.
intellect. That is the
Exactly.
most
Yeah.
important thing. You waste
Yeah.
your intellect, and you give your mind to somebody else to think for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So, let's move on a little bit, and let's just talk about the zone where the explosion happens. So, you more or less kept it to yourself in terms of your family and that. But how did your friends and other people in your social circles react when you told them that you don't believe anymore?
So I've talked to a couple of members of my family who are in the same age as mine, um, and I knew that they have more open mind, and they like me enough not to flip. And the reaction you get in England, it's different. My friend, my British friends are, they just don't care. Fine, they love you as you are. It doesn't matter, even if they are Christians. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
the Arabic friends, you definitely you definitely have a hard time trying to bring that subject. And when you pick and choose the people that you will tell,
yeah,
you have to be careful. It's very good to tell these people because you don't want to, because you feel more honest when you talk to them, and that when
yeah,
once they know, you feel relieved. um,
yeah,
so the reaction I got was, You're more Muslim than mine. I don't know these things. I can't tell you. I'm not an expert in religion. I'm just a Muslim." Everyone answers the same way. We're not
yeah,
as knowledgeable as you. I don't have a clue about this. But then you feel like you're facing a wall, like your head is against a wall because they don't move. They don't want to think. You
yeah,
which you understand, as we
yeah,
talked before. But that's the reaction you get. Oh gosh, you really? I didn't know that. But maybe you need to speak to someone that knows. I don't know. This is something behind me or beyond me. That's the
yeah.
reaction you get. But I kept most of them. There are
Nice.
people that I would not tell. There are people that they, and it's again, it's good for them to have a religion, unless
Yeah,
they find out themselves, and then I can help. I
yeah,
can help only someone that needs help or wants
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And how have your relationships with your Muslim friends, has it changed at all? Did you lose a few friends and make a few new friends, or
um. Yeah. Again, I left the Muslim community when I left London, and I lost most of them now because of the time. That was like 20 years ago.
yeah,
Um. I don't think the problem is I don't think if there is a Muslim that um, Islam is a very important aspect in their lives, which there are a lot of people like that. I don't think I can connect, or I don't think I would like to connect anymore after I have been changed through that change.
yeah,
I don't think I can share good moments with them. We can sit and talk and have a discussion about anything, but I can't be friends with them. So there are
yeah,
people that you want to keep in your life, and there are people that don't mean a lot when you have changed.
yeah, yeah,
So I've lost some, um, because of me,
yeah,
not because of them. And I've kept some who, as mentioned, that I knew that they would contain that change and not be so angry with me, because they are interested in me as a person rather than a worshipper or a religious and
yeah, yeah.
person. Does that answer the question? Have I got it
It
right?
does. It does. You
Yeah.
know what? I also think sometimes when religious people see an apostate, it makes them feel insecure. You
That's
know,
what
they
happened. That's what
yeah,
happened to me when I met my friend, that Egyptian friend, first time. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I was very insecure.
because they're saying to themselves like, look at this guy. This guy doesn't believe that. Like, oh, am I doing so? Have I got something wrong here? Like what? So they don't like that feeling of insecurity, and the natural reaction is to just go in hard. So some people will they'll become like dawa boys, and they'll just run around.
Dean, religions grow with you because you're indoctrinated since a really young. It grows with you as an organ. like an organ, like your hand. You see the religion like you see your hand or your eyes or your ears. So when you threaten someone of the i- inexistence of that concept, that's
yeah,
like that's like you chopping their arms away. It's like, and any insult goes to the, this is, Prophet Muhammad is more precious to Muslims than any part of their bodies, supposedly, because I don't think, yeah, but not literally, but he is really precious to them. So if you insult Prophet Muhammad, there is outrage, and I know why that is, and I get it, and I would never insult Prophet Muhammad. I would respect, because there are people that y- I know, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. So if I know this is the, I know this is the way that some atheists do, and I understand it, and because I'm not a young man anymore. I mean, perhaps when I was a young man, if I was in that frame of mind, I would have adopted that technique. But for now, no. I feel how they feel, and I don't want to insult, because if you insult the religion, you're insulting their organs. It's an organ.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
an
It's crazy.
unseen organ. So
Now that we're talking about this, do you remember a while ago? Who is this? There was this very famous Muslim fighter, and people discovered that he was a pimp. And what Tate, that's the name, Tate. He put out this challenge to people, and he said, ah, I see, because he saw the satanic temple were taking the Bibles and ripping the Bibles, and he said, oh, I would like to see you people do that with a Quran. And thousands of people were, and
did you not hear about the cartoon? You just, not like you just draw a cartoon and you die.
yeah,
No.
that's crazy.
I don't think that
Yeah,
is right. I think it. I think the peaceful movements are probably more effective. I don't know why you would want to clash with the whole culture. The whole culture, the whole Islamic culture is built about the. It's called Islamic culture.
yeah,
It's not. It's really attached to Islam. I don't know why you would want to educate people and give them their choice. But I don't agree with clashing with the culture, because I was
yeah,
part of that. If I,
yeah,
when I was a Muslim, and that cartoonist, the Danish cartoonist did that. I think I was in Egypt, and I can't remember when, but I was very angry as well. I was very angry. Why do you you just don't understand the freedom that the West have. You think, this is a red line. You can't. Why do you say that about my prophet? It's my prophet, man.
mm, yeah, it's true. A friend of the channel, Tasha, asks, I agree with not insulting any person's religion, but it's difficult when people experience even honest, mild questions about their religion as an insult. So, what is your solution in these cases? It's a difficult question because I don't think there is a solution.
I know, and
If
Thursday I
somebody
didn't.
wants, if somebody wants to be offended, they are going to be offended, no matter what you say to them.
Absolutely. The way that I do it in on Facebook, and I'm glad I've had this interview after my experience on Facebook as an Arabic atheist, because I made another profile. The way I do it is, I just go into debates, on the comments, engage in the dialogue. But when I get to a certain point, and I just give up and I leave it, because you probably, it's probably like an army. You have the first line of soldiers, and then you have the second line, and you have the third line. So I have a line that I stop at. So when you talk to someone about infinity, and then you say that infinity is unscientific, you can't say God is infinite. What is infinite? Define infinity. And then they say, this is a miracle that we haven't got to understand infinity yet. God is infinite. So this is actually an evidence that God exists because of that miracle, and they want to shut you up by this. And then you go, so the So the absence of the a starting point of something is an evidence of his existence. That is so hard to believe. And then they start saying, well, you just don't want to believe because you want to do whatever you want. At that point, I
You
go,
don't want to
stop.
believe because you want to eat bacon and drink beer.
That's what they think. And I say, this is so absurd. This is so absurd. Like I understand that there is a God, and I don't care. I don't care about being in hell for eternity, and I just want to drink and do whatever I want in this life. This is so absurd. This is like unintelligent, very unintelligent. And but at that point I stop, and then I leave them to somebody else to insult them, like
I think
proper.
it also comes with age. You know, when I was 20, I would debate until the death. But now I'm almost 50, so you know I've learned to let things go. You know, like
That's it. That's it. That's
you
it.
get to choose. You can see, you know, with experience, you can see where something is worth fighting for, and if you're going to make a change, or whether it's just a waste of time or a fool's errand. You know, and it's
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And as I said, this is like planting. You might want to throw a seed here and throw a seed there, and somebody else put the water, and somebody else weeds. It's a whole process, and
Process. Yeah.
I am not willing to do the whole thing myself. I'll just do what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So you know you've built a support network around yourself, and you found a community. You know, how can people, you know, what advice can we give people who are in a religion and who are fearful of being lonely, you know, and that they're not going to find people to connect to because the whole thing is based in religion? How did you navigate that isolation, you know, that people
Do,
feel once they've left the religion?
do you mean people in the religion? In what context? Do you mean like people who
So, say for
are?
example, we have somebody now who's saying, you know, uh, did Muhammad really fly to the moon on Burak? You know, like I cannot believe that shit. You know, like I wonder what else is wrong. You know, and now that kind of person, now they're saying like, you know, Islam can't be true, but you know, if I leave Islam, then my whole family is Muslim. You know, like you know, so there's a lot of different things. I'm gonna be alone. You know, like when I leave Islam, I'm not. Where am I gonna? You know, who am I gonna be friends with? That kind of feeling of isolation and inclusivity is. I think, you know, for me, I wish when I was deconverting that I knew that there was such a big community of atheists online, and that I was not going to feel alone and feel lonely.
So let me break down this. First thing before I forget, you've given me a hint for the answer. So the online community, and absolutely I agree. The thing is, I picked on while you were talking is that when you go through this journey, you don't. It's not that logical. It's not like I don't believe that shit.
Yeah,
What else? No, it's not like that. It's the this if you are a Muslim, there is nothing you can disbelieve in. You just take things as it is.
yeah,
You don't question it. You have doubts about things, but you always brush it under the carpet. You don't want to bring that to the top. Why? Because you might flip, and this is so scary. And even the Muslim imams tell you that. They tell you, don't think about this thing because this led
that's
to so many.
dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah, this led to so many people leaving the religion, and you don't want that. And you know, oh my God, no, I don't want that. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna think of that. This is something outside our knowledge, so just leave it. But when you read and understand not the Burak thing, not that winged um, um, horse or donkey that took Prophet Muhammad upstairs. No, you don't question this. You don't have doubts about this. But when you read what happened within that era, and all the doubts about the existence of Prophet Muhammad in Mecca, because a lot of scholars, mostly German scholars, they do a terrific job, that it might have been in Jordan. Mecca didn't have any monuments or any signs of life in that in
yeah,
1400 years ago. And you read what happened to the countries that Islam invaded and all that. Then you go back to these concepts and you question it and you go, oh my God, yeah, that makes sense. So how did
yeah,
you? Oh my God, the Aqsa Mosque, yeah, why was there something called mosque before Islam? That word came with Islam.
yeah,
So you start questioning. You don't question. You go back and say, "Oh, that makes sense." So in that at that time, when you are going through the journey, you're just learning. You don't think about these doubts, because if you are accepting of the religion, you accept it as it is. You don't question. God can do
exactly.
anything, can't He? So, but going back to the advice thing, absolutely, the online community, that's the first thing. You can't knock at your neighbor's door and say, are you an atheist? Because I'm looking for atheists. It's definitely the online that made it easy, which explains my my loneliness and sadness and fear when I was going through this journey, because there was no internet. So internet is a godsend for atheists.
That's
And you're
true.
right. You were talking about the community before. I forgot to comment. Yeah, religions have institutions that we don't, and hence why when I started to come out after this war, I became very active in that space, and
Yeah,
I am seeking more and more podcasts to come maybe to discuss why I why what the things that made me really turn, what they are, what there are lots of things that English speakers Muslims don't know, and they will never know. So, and then I started to be active in that space, and I started to be active with my with the Atheism UK organization. We formed the local organization for Midlands, and I'm very active in that as well. We've actually met. So online will build a good community
yeah,
if you have that, because yeah, before that it's just very lonely. You can't
yeah,
have that level of connection between you and the Western society, because they didn't go through what you've been through, and they don't understand your culture well. They understand the Muslim culture. So many times I would go to a party and they say, oh, you don't eat pork, do you? Which was really annoying. These assumptions. They understand the Islamic culture, but they don't understand the ex-Muslim culture. So you
yeah,
can't connect. You need really people who are like you, people who are similar. Look for ex-Muslims community.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there is, it's almost like two soldiers who go to war. After the war, they meet one another. And, there's a bond that forms between
Absolutely,
atheists, because I think we go through the same struggles, and we recognize, can see, I see you, I know, I know the struggles, that you go through. So,
absolutely.
Khaled, let's in closing talk a little bit about Islam, because I find it fascinating. I really do. It's crazy. I think it's the closer you get to the equator, the closer your head is to the sun, and I think the sun bakes people's brains, and because all the heavy religions are around the equator. If you go north to Scandinavia and Canada, those countries, they're very chilled.
Mm.
But let's talk about tradition, because Islam has got a very long, rich tradition. And how do you think these traditional Islamic teachings are going to face challenges when it comes to the modern world? Because the world evolving very quickly, and science is understanding the world so much better, and we're getting all those questions from, yeah, no, it was Allah who did this. Now we're starting to have scientific explanations for it, and we can understand it. So in what ways do you think that these teachings are going to be challenged in the modern age?
I have big hopes. I don't think I will see it while I am alive, unfortunately. But I think the next 100 years will see a big change to in the Islamic world. We are already seeing a lot of signs for that. A lot of signs. Look at what's happening in Iran. Look at what's happening in Saudi Arabia. These two countries are very different because they do have both very heavy Islamic laws. But in Iran, as far as I understand, the people themselves mostly reject the religion, and they just controlled by a very strong regime. Where in Saudi Arabia, people believe more in God. But there is still the change is happening. So the change in Saudi Arabia is happening top to bottom, and in Iran is happening bottom to top, bottom up, bottom up, yeah, top down and bottom up. But the change is happening. There is a very big atheism movement in the whole Arabic world. Iran is ready. It's just a matter of getting rid of the mullahs. The 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 thing is,
What is
because of the
sorry, where does the mullah fit into the whole hierarchy? Above. There's mufti, mullah,
the
imam. Where
the
is the
so the different they're all different. Mufti is something that we have in Sunnah, and it's somebody that tells you this is right, this is wrong. But fatwa is something um, any scholar can do. So a mullah can do a fatwa. Hence Salman Rushdie's fatwa coming from Khomeini. So mullahs are the Shia that control they are political slash religious leaders that control maybe Afghanistan or Iran. We don't have mullah in the Sunnah world. So the change is happening. There is the internet is facilitating that change, and it is coming, and that's why also I am fond of a smooth approach. So I'm very hopeful that the change will happen. The clash is going to rise, in my opinion, because of the people. There are people that really uh, can't can't cope with those changes because of the fear of what this change will bring to the laws and constitutions in those countries. No one in the Arabic or Muslim culture would want to see their sister free to have sex before marriage or be equal on inheritance or stuff like that. This is very fearful. You almost own the women that you relate to, your mom, your sister, your wife, your cousins. You don't want to see that change. Respecting women's right will happen, but it might take a bit of time. But
yeah
the clash will be at its pinnacle. There's no doubt of that. But the change will happen.
yeah I was very I'm sharing on screen at the moment this article that I read on the Middle East forum, and it says that atheism amongst Muslims is spreading like wildfire. And it's very strange when when you read through stuff like this. It gives you hope, and but the thing that really scares me is just this whole radicalized and fundamentalist element that is, um, you know, I mean, nobody can deny that Islam has a very radical and fundamental element. I mean, just look at the news. So what are your thoughts about, what are the factors that contribute to radicalization in some Islamic communities? you get some very, very mild Muslims who just, want to go about their business. And then you get those Muslims who just want to go and chop their hands and chop their heads, and the whole world must be Muslim before, like where does that come from?
This is a really good question, and this is an important message I always carry. Excuse me. There is a big association between poverty and the feeling of persecution
Right.
the and the radicalization, and that's just anecdotal. I don't have statistics, but if you look at rich countries, you will find less radicalism. Look at places like Qatar, Bahrain, Emirate, Kuwait. These people are rich. The I'm talking about the people, not the elite sector. These people hardly get radicalized. The people who get radicalized are in poorer countries, Egypt,
Right. Right.
Palestine, Palestine, uh, Gaza, poor, and feeling of unfairness. So there is a moral responsibility on those countries who went and invaded other countries and became big powers in the world, controlling the whole world with the Security Council and all that. I understand why this has happened. I don't have criticism. Now I'm where I am. I don't have criticism because I'm looking at the bigger picture. Okay, fair enough. Now we live in that system. There is a moral responsibility on you to fix what you've done.
Yeah.
So you have to help these countries. Um, Gaza could have been like Singapore if there was if there was if there was help. The, if now if you notice, when Hamas started, they started as very opposing to Israel. They didn't want Israel to exist. Now they accept the existence of Israel. There, if there is a investment dialogue, help these people. If people living comfortably, they will be less. There will be less chances for them to be radicalized. I think that's my view.
Yeah. Because religion is made for desperate people. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
If you
this
are,
is how
if
it
you
started.
yeah, if you are desperate in life, you struggling, you're poor, or you have an issue with X, Y, Z, religion will be an answer. Will give you an answer. It might not be a good answer, but if you're desperate, you'll take any answer. But
Islam
then,
was a typical example of that, Dean. When it first started, there was a few people that are rich from trade, but the
yeah,
mass, they didn't have a jobs. It was a desert, so that their
yeah,
job was to go and invade other tribes, other countries,
yeah,
under the flag of Islam,
yeah,
and take money, take women and sell them, and all that. So this was their
right,
job. These soldiers didn't have, if they didn't invade, there is no other job. So absolutely, this is why religion started. Yeah, take these young people, they don't have a job. Instead of just causing trouble, and take them and go and get the goodness from other countries, and
yeah,
make it their jobs. It's so easy.
yeah. And that's another thing. When you Islam does not play well with other religions.
No, I don't think any other religion play well. There is always the feeling that you're wrong, even if you're peaceful, even if you're preaching peacefully, like Christianity. Well, Christianity was preaching usefully, peacefully, but then at some point they were powerful and they started in invading other countries for religious reasons. So there is always that. Buddhism, I think there is a big problem between Buddhism and Muslims in some parts of the world. So the religion will always not accept the other. It's always I am right, you're wrong, and they will clash. Do you agree?
I agree 100%.
Not just Islam. Islam is just it's just because the text we've got was a bit explicit in those in those terms, which scholars try to disguise that and say, no, this was the time of Prophet Muhammad. We should not apply that. The moderate scholars, but if you read you can't go anywhere. You have no choice but to apply these teachings on your modern life as well, because Quran is for every place, for every time. It's just
yeah.
simple like that.
That's the big problem that I have with religion, is that it's totalitarian.
Yes,
So it's like a dictator. Like, this is the way it goes. There's no discussion, and if you
just
don't
do it.
like it, too bad.
That's it.
It's too bad for you.
That's it. Absolutely.
um, in closing, Khaled, let's talk about reform movements. The people say, as religions go, the Hindus are the grandfathers, the Christians are the old men, but they say Islam is still in the teenage phase. so so a lot of people are talking about this concept of reforming a religion. Like, when you look at the Christians, they went through a reform period in the Middle Ages, and they became a little bit milder. They stopped going on crusades and killing everybody. So, is reform possible in Islam, or is it just a crazy dream to have?
This is a very good question as well, and I will answer this question, but not from my thoughts, because a great Egyptian writer has alluded to this, and he just said it right. And I will say his name because it's very good. If there is an Arabic speaker subscriber that doesn't know about him, can check him out. He's called Hamid Abdus Samad. He's something like the Egyptian Richard Dawkins. He lives in Germany, and he's a big writer. A very, very peaceful man, but unfortunately he has to go about his day with security. So he said that Islam could not be subject to reform, and he said the difference between Islam and what happened by Martin Luther for Christianity is that Martin Luther said, let's go back to the teaching of the Bible. It's peaceful. We should just preach peacefully. That we should not go and invade other countries. The teachings of Islam is a bit different. So if you go to the original text and the explanation books, you will have no option but to do because you have two pillars. The first one is Quran is for everywhere, every time, and the other pillar is Quran is telling you need to spread the word of Allah with every mean you can. So between these two pillars, you can't do it. You can't say let's go back to the teaching of Quran. You will do more of these moves. So this is the hard thing. We can't unless which is I think something Prince Mohammed bin Salman is trying to do in Saudi Arabia. I heard a lot of talks about it. Is trying to filter those teachings and start. It's going to be real difficult because it's not just about Saudi Arabia. If you, there's Egypt. Egypt is a big there is a big institution in Egypt that it's almost controlling the country with the military, with the president. So it's going to be really hard, in my opinion, to reform Islam. Unfortunately, I wish that was the case, because then we can have a peaceful religion like Christianity and like your auntie. And but
Exactly.
my mom is peaceful, but the young people that come from those cultures are this is energy. They have energy. They need that energy to go. And if they are poor and they turn into religion, and that whole thing starts. So teachings of Islam, unfortunately, in the scholars' books are different to the teaching of Christianity.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, Muslims are very proud when when they hold up the Quran. They'll say to you, "This is the way that it was when it was written down."
Yeah,
not
exactly.
not one letter has changed. Nothing.
Exactly, and that explains why they go to Germany and say Germany will be ours, the UK will be ours. I understand all this. I'm not wondering. I really understand that frame of mind. It's a dilemma.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Khaled, it's been a real pleasure having you on our show today. I want to thank you again for being so generous with your time, for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Tell people where can they find you on social media if you have anything that you want to promote.
I still don't have. I'm still starting all this journey with coming out, and so I don't have. But I've, even my Facebook atheist Facebook is in Arabic, but I'm in Atheism UK, the organization that
Yeah.
tries to connect atheists in the UK. So Atheist UK. If you manage to find that online, there's a website, and there are YouTube channel. Um, you can connect with us, and I am part of the Atheism UK Midland. So if until I sort my some social media out, that's a big learning curve still. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You know what you must do is you must put a niqab on or something, and and speak with a deep man voice wearing a
I,
niqab.
I I would have to go through a conversion operation first, because niqab is not for men.
but
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 I'll take
this
your
is the
advice.
thing. I
But
see some people wearing masks and whatever.
I know I really got to a point where I'm really ready to come out, especially in the UK, just to help people that were in my case, and to help the others understand and develop that critical mind. I don't want to forget to thank you so much for hosting me today. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and thanks to all the people who commented, and for people who are watching this. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you around, Dave.
Thank you. Bye bye.